Let's review Rune Factory 5 for the Nintendo Switch. For those unfamiliar with farm life simulators, the word farm might sound incredibly boring, like a repetitive, soulless chore where you stare at dirt all day. But farm life games aren't really about farming, they're about living a life. This means getting to know your neighbors, getting caught up in the latest drama, exploring the town, helping people out, cooking dinner, and even forming relationships and raising kids. Think of it like The Sims or Animal Crossing, but with farming added to the mix. Now Rune Factory doesn't stop there. It goes one step further and slaps a full-blown action RPG on top of a farm life simulator, kind of like adding hot sauce to a jacuzzi. Questionable? Maybe. Fun? Absolutely. Altogether, we're looking at a ridiculous amount of features, from growing crops, crafting, socializing and dating, to fighting monsters and a story full of adventure. You choose between a male or female protagonist, who, of course, starts the game with a classic case of amnesia, because JRPG law demands it. Luckily, the town of Rigbarth is kind enough to take you in. You're single and ready to mingle with dozens of villagers, each whose design portraits and personalities are excellent and unique. None of the characters are particularly deep, but given the game's lighthearted nature, this works perfectly. Every villager follows a day-night schedule, and you can check the map at any time to see exactly where everyone is, which is very convenient and definitely not creepy. No, I swear, Lucy, it was just a coincidence. As you build friendships, villagers can join you in battle or even marry you. Yes, marriage is fully implemented, and you can raise up to 3 children with your spouse. That's not something you see every day in a game like this. Rune Factory 5 is essentially an open sandbox RPG, where you can spend hours focusing on one activity, then immediately pivot to something completely different. Story progression is fairly hands-off. After clearing a dungeon and waiting a few in-game days, a new marker eventually appears on the map pointing you to the next story objective. That said, the main story is pretty weak. It's basic, sparse, and honestly below average. Your amnesiac hero has very little personality, almost as if they were designed to be a silent protagonist, but then decided not to fully commit. While the dialogue has occasional wit, meaningful conversations with your characters are rare. Most story moments feel like someone is talking at your character rather than with them. In short, you're probably not playing Rune Factory 5 for its narrative. Farming plays a crucial role in the game, because you can't save the world on an empty stomach. And despite farming being inherently repetitive, Rune Factory 5 manages to make it enjoyable. When you unlock a new field, it's usually covered in rocks, tree stumps, and weeds. Rocks can be smashed with a hammer for stone, trees chopped with an axe for lumber, and weeds repurposed as fertilizer. Then you have to till the soil, sow the seeds, water them every day, and then finally harvest them. If you are hardcore, you could use your crops to craft some gear. A helmet made of pumpkin sounds reasonable, but did you know you could forge a sword from a carrot? I bet that carrot is packed full of vitamin ouch. There's a surprising amount of strategy in deciding what to grow. Early on, I managed to harvest pumpkins and cooked boiled pumpkin, which restores 2500 HP and temporarily boosts max health by 1000. That's not a vegetable, that's a miracle. Rune Factory 5 also features a deep crafting system with hundreds of recipes. If you don't know a recipe, you can eat recipe bread to instantly learn one based on your crafting level. And yes, there's a level for everything. Walking has a level, sleeping has a level, simply existing has a level. It genuinely feels like no time you spend in this game is wasted. Progression is tied closely to story advancement. Better tools, materials, and crops are locked behind quests and higher level dungeons. Thankfully, the game does an excellent job teaching the systems through its quest-based tutorial that rewards you generously. Dungeon exploration is usually short and sweet. You can fast travel to any dungeon floor you've already visited, which keep things moving. Many of the dungeons have switches you need to press to open doors, and some even have traps such as erupting lava, swinging axes, or the classic rolling boulder of doom. The combat isn't too bad. There are a variety of weapon types, skills, spells, and enemies, but the experience still pales in comparison to any respectable action game. The weakest point is the camera. Some warriors say never to let the enemy out of your sight, but the camera makes it difficult to keep track of the enemies you want. You can press down on the right thumbstick to lock onto an enemy, then press left and right on the right thumbstick to change targets. This sounds like a great system on paper, but it is poorly implemented. The game seems to use some sort of auto-aim to face your character where they think you want to face, but it often does a poor job. This is apparent when you try to hit a monster portal. When the portal spawns a monster, your character turns toward the monster even though it is not in range. This still happens if you're holding the left thumbstick towards the portal. You end up swinging your weapon in the air and hitting nothing. Hitting a stationary target like a monster portal sounds like the easiest thing in the world, but not when you're constantly fighting the camera and controls. Surprisingly, one of the funnest part of combat was teaming up with the villagers. I invited 3 party members, and they were extremely helpful. I had to level them up and give them gear, but that's part of the fun. You can even invite 3 love interests to your room at the same time. Somehow, I feel that fighting dragons will be safer. Almost every monster and even bosses can be tamed and fight alongside you. Taming, feeding, and training monsters is its own adventure. There's so many more things that you can do in this game that aren't even mentioned in this review. In summary, Rune Factory 5 is a charming, ambitious game that tries to do a lot. While it doesn't nail everything, especially its combat and story, it succeeds where it matters most, offering a cozy, addictive gameplay loop full of personality and freedom. Its niche appeal and unrefined battle mechanics might turn away some players, but for fans of life sims and RPG hybrids, there's a lot to love here. Dadozy Gaming gives Rune Factory 5 for the Nintendo Switch a 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching and happy gaming!